I think you've got to watch the on this right on the
I'm ready too. Cue. Good afternoon and welcome to Sunera for the South African Show Jumping Championships 2018. 24 starters today in this field, the top 24 in the 1 meter 50 division. The riders are parading and the horses are reacting really strongly to the brass band. The brass band is the Field Band Foundation. It's here in Plettenberg Bay and it teaches children to play instruments as part of their development. They're very proud, the field band. 90% of the children pass their matric exams. Less than 1% of the field band children have tested positive for HIV, and they have a 0% pregnancy rate. So a huge community effort, the Field Band Foundation, Plettenberg Bay, South Africa. With me in the commentary box is Lawrence Mert, fresh from some action in the 1 meter 30s this morning.
Yes, Rogues, I had a lovely morning riding my horses. Didn't go to plan. Sadly, had a couple of rails down, but looking forward to a good afternoon of show jumping here at the South African Championships.
And a good afternoon it should be. Everything looks perfect. The arena looks marvelous. The jump equipment is brand new, the latest of the latest. Kevin Spratley building his best. There's 100,000 Rand prize money being contested and 24 of our best combinations here to contest this South African Championship. We have a Facebook link and it's possible for us to field questions and answer. So can I give the Facebook contact, or Lawrence, will you do the honors with the Facebook?
I will.
Shot of Jonathan Clark. He has 2 rides in this competition. Anthony Kay from Port Elizabeth in camera.
And I'm on you now, 5.
There's Gareth Neal, and he's a high qualifier, second top qualifier. He's riding his Vanguard mare, Dartoli. She's found really good form recently. There are the dignitaries. In the Panama hat and the pale grey jacket is Kevin Spratley. And just in a moment you can hear some of Kevin Spratley's thoughts about his input and design, and hopefully he talks to you about this remarkable venue, Sunera.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Spratley. I'm a FEI Level 3 course designer from Cape Town. The shareholding body has asked me to come and design their tracks for them here at Sunera, which is a new venue. It's a very beautiful venue and certainly a good standard venue. And they're going to be hosting the SA Show Jumping Championships here. They have 2 qualifying classes before to sort of qualify for the SA Champs class. So already we start preparing the horses and riders from the first class, and we build them up class by class and try and get them to go better each day, so we can have a really good up to standard class for the SA Show Jumping Champs.
You're a rider yourself. Are you riding at this SA Champs?
I do ride myself. Unfortunately, we can't ride and design at the show. It's not allowed. They seem to think that course designers have an advantage, but it doesn't always work that way.
What is the defining feature of a track? What makes a good track? What makes a bad track?
Well, we try and have penalties everywhere, so we don't want one fence that causes all the trouble. We would like the faults to be spread around the entire course. Obviously, it's not only the height of the fences that are the test. We'll design lines with 4 strides or 5 strides. It'll be a going distance or a holding distance. So it's not only the height, it's also the location where we place the fences around the track as well.
Just explain to me the difference in the turf that one gets on these arenas.
Okay, mostly nowadays we're going to this arena which I'm standing on now, which is called a clop sort of arena. So it's a sand and a mixture of fibre. Overseas they have lots of space, so they have big grass arenas as well, but the cloth is the most popular at the moment.
What got you here? What is the your inspiration or your development on this occupation or hobby that you're involved with?
It's something I just really enjoy doing. I haven't ridden to the highest level. I've sort of ridden to 1.20 meter, but I suppose I'm sort of technically minded, so I like the technical part of designing the tracks and seeing how the horses develop over the show, over the tracks and things. Yeah.
got, sort of.
Don't spoil them.
Do you want tongue?
Yeah.
Wait, let me actually take it this way.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Here we go. Thank you. So the course walk has taken place, the parade's taken place. The riders are just doing a few warm-up jumps before they come in, and the first to go will be the lowest qualifier, Gondo Uber Royale, Kirsten Wynn. This is definitely a weekend and a day and an event of firsts. Lawrence, I'm sure, will agree. Kirsten Wynn would be having her first ride in the South African Championships. This is the first national title at this venue. There's a whole lot of firsts going on. It's the first big show that this venue has hosted.
Yeah, definitely. I would almost say a landmark day in South African show jumping, as if you put it like that, and I look forward to it. I think we'll see some good show jumping, some brilliant show jumping, and I can't wait to see some of the young guns pulling out the stops and beating some of the older riders.
17-year-old Thomas Triggle having his first adult South African Championships.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
The young kids often pull out. Obviously, I'm on their side and beat the adults. I'm looking forward to some of that happening today, maybe.
Delighted to say it doesn't happen that often.
You would say that, wouldn't you, Rogues?
For viewers that have just joined us, this venue is in Plettenberg Bay. It's in Pisang Valley, basically above Robberg and Lookout beaches. And it's nestled in a valley. It was the site of an old stud farm, the Ridderfontein Stud Farm. And it was acquired by the Augusta family. And they have put up this remarkable venue, this attractive venue with superb stabling. They had to fix a road for trucks and people to get in here. The infrastructure spend has been significant. The defending champion is Kelly O'Connor. She'll be riding Hera van der Been, the horse that she won with last year, and there was a chance to catch up with her.
Champion, as well as the 2018 South African Derby champion, Kelly O'Connor. Kelly, how does it feel being in the Cape?
Hi Alex, it's amazing. I've never really competed in the Cape before, so it's fabulous having the sea and the mountains. Really a great experience.
Awesome. You and Hera are clearly in form for the past 2 years. How do you feel about the show? How has Hera gone in the last few classes?
Hera's feeling fantastic. We won our first qualifier, which I'm very chuffed about, and we had a City Rail the other in the second qualifier, which put us quite nicely in the middle of the field for today's champs.
So you've qualified 6, so out of those top 6, are there any big contenders, or do you think everybody's got a chance to win this class?
I think we have a field of 24 fantastic horse and rider combinations, and really on the day any one of those can pull it out of the bag.
I agree. So judging from this track being built now, Kevin's just come back from Spain. What are your thoughts? What do you think he's going to give you today?
Kevin's a really strong course builder. He really likes to ask us all the questions. He wants us to have the rideability, the scope, making sure the horse is listening to us. So I really expect something challenging today from him.
I agree. Well, thank you very much for coming to the Cape, from Team Sunera, and we look forward to many more shows.
Thank you so much for having all of us here.
I think the first one was better.
You guys are rocking.
Well, Kelly O'Connor, Hera van der Been, she'll really be on form this afternoon. The horses from Gauteng definitely get an oxygen bonus down here. They're quite fit up there, but they definitely spark up a little here, Lawrence.
My horse has definitely felt great. Loving the sea air. Although it's quite hot, and it's been hot the whole time, apart from the one day of rain we had early in the week, there's been a lovely cool breeze, which has really helped with the horses.
Yes. So the bell has rung for the first horse in, Kirsten Wynn, and she's having her first ride ever in an adult South African Championships. She's the daughter of Michelle and Graham. She runs a riding school in the Springs area. Hard-working young lady and incredibly talented lady. Some riders will go down there in 9, Lawrence. They walked at 9. She did 10.
Yeah, just maybe a bit slow to get started. Maybe that's part of a game plan. Just ease the horse into the track, not ask too many questions of it too early.
6 strides and then 11 strides. That was beautifully done. That's a trappy, airy vertical out of a corner. Really tough question.
This treble walked tight. Not any problems there for her, but that horse is easily adjusted, sit back on its ox and jumped up out over the oxer, which is very good.
She is light. She would probably weigh in at 50 odd kilograms. Huge advantage to the horse.
Sense of conversation there, Rogan. I would be careful what you would say to her, but I'm thinking, yeah, as you say, no, she's very slim and fit and ready for the competition ring.
And her father, being an event rider, would know everything about having a horse fit enough. This is wonderful.
Brilliant.
And that's going to happen. She's touched the last, but what a wonderful ride. She will be thrilled. Super form, super performance. She actually made it look easy.
Yes, no, she rode amazingly. The horse really responded to what she asked of it, and it was a super round. Pity, that's a forward 5 to the last. I think the horses are tired and get away from the rider a bit, so it needs to take a special horse to stay on the tox and jump that upright.
And looking at the gate, a little distracted.
Exactly.
Bronwyn Meredith dos Santos comes in next. She is on number 2, Fountain of Love. This is the thoroughbred in the class. This is a Cahal Eliador. It's done wonderfully with Bronwyn. It's competed in South African derbies, South African World Cups. She's placed in those. She's acquired herself a really strong string, and this would be her old campaigner. I'm guessing the mare is 15 or 16.
It's lovely still seeing a thoroughbred up these grades.
Yes.
It's sad that they're almost being phased out for the Scopia warm blood breed, but it's nice. They still can hold their own, I think.
Nothing to beat a good thoroughbred. Trained by Gonda. And just a little stroke off at number 1. That's demoralizing. Is that 11? Did I say 11?
Well, pulled a shoe.
Which won't matter. She's looked back. She's aware of it. And that caused that ride, the distraction of having pulled off a shoe. So 2 down. There's the option of the inside or the outside of that blue and grey last fence. Superb mare this. She pricks her ears, looks for the work. This competition is run over 2 full rounds, so it's a war of attrition. It's a real test of fitness and stamina and concentration. And if there's an equality of faults after 2 rounds, it goes to a time jump off. So it's a long competition, this. 12 penalties. The arena crew pick up the shoe that came adrift. He'd be one of the form combinations, not with this mare, but with his other horse, Hummer. He's a lower qualifier with this mare. And she is part of Slade Equestrian's team. She's a Tinker's Boy Chin Chin. She's a redhead lady. You can see she's having a good look at the wall. It's fascinating. Horses will spook at something, but if you ask them to jump it, they'll jump it. But Jonathan making sure that she's had a sighting of it. He is riding the horse in a hackamore bit combination. So there's a lever which operates the hackamore. It puts some pressure on the nose and some on the back of the jaw. He's also got a bit, and the rein is split, so there's some pressure on the inside the horse's mouth, and it's a balance of control. But the spreading the load is really what he's doing. It's a very good idea.
Rogan, you're a fan of hackamores, and I think you've always been.
I'm a fan of taking anything that you can out of the horse's mouth to control it. I think it's just more humane. Her sire, Tinker's Boy, was an incredibly good campaigner both in Britain and for the Swiss Olympic team. And he's Arab in him, and you can see her high head and pricked ears. That little roll-off is going to happen all day. And we'll get to see just how good Kirsten's 4-penalty round was. The second round goes in reverse order of merit, so she'll move up with that 4-penalty round. It was a very good round.
It was. You can see this horse is maybe a bit newer to this grade. Its ears are pricked. It's looking around, seeing what's going on, just settling into this grade and settling into the jumps here. And John is giving it all the opportunity to jump the fences clear.
He's a maestro. You're right. This is a new 1.50 meter horse. And you see him ask and ask again. That's where experience and skill and talent kicks in. With a lesser rider, that could have been not nearly as successful. And watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll be happy. The team will be happy with that round. That was valid. 12. Thank you. As far as we can tell, 12 penalties for that round, and 1 for time. Thank you very much. So 13 penalties. Apologies, 4 penalties. 12 was, it's 4 plus 1 for Inush. So to summarize, we have from Kirsten 4 penalties. Studies. Said that it's okay. So wherever they add a stride, they start risking time penalties. This young lady won the South African Junior Championships a while back. Very talented, very promising lady with loads of big match temperament.
There's a lovely stallion to watch by Toulon.
Yes. And he is a stallion. He, at the vet checks and that, you notice he can really misbehave.
Very elastic horse in his body, uses his body well.
Wonderful style, wonderful technique.
What will she do here?
Perfectly ridden.
Oh.
And it's going to cause trouble. Second combination to hit that last fence. It's pale grey in the colours. It's airy. That's a really good test. We go now to Tara Lowe. She's riding for Charmaine Hewitt. She's riding number 5, Cuda Insurance Foreigner. Foreigner is by 4 edition, out of a mare by Ramiro's son. So Ramiro blood there. We'll be seeing more of this for pleasure blood, for edition, a son of For Pleasure. We're seeing more of this For Pleasure blood later. Tara based in Hout Bay, daughter of Judy Lowe, multiple caps for Western Province. And the horses are hyped. You saw Jonathan's horse not wanting to go near the wall, and Tara's horse is thinking it'll leave. This horse had a big injury about a year ago, Lawrence, and has been out a long time.
I remember they had a bit of an accident in the Bob Charter Arena.
Some tendon strain, and the recovery from the tendon is hectic. He's very hyped, and this will take all her skills to get him back down there where he doesn't want to go. Now, keep an eye on the clock. She has 45 seconds after the ringing of the bell to get through the start.
That's gone down to 10, 9.
And she's into time penalties, and he wants to leave the arena. Wow, this is hard on her. This is really hard. The crowd shouting encouragement, and you can see he does not want to get down there. That's the side where the VIP tent is, and these horses are aware of sound, of noise, of color, of light. And she's through the start. She's on about, I'm guessing, 10 time penalties for that, and that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a pity. Hopefully she speeds up and manages to regain some of that. But you know what? It's always disheartening. Horses are not machines. We never know what they're thinking. We have to be sympathetic towards that in a way. Maybe this horse is a little bit spooked by the tent, and it's something.
Yes, you saw him looking at the tent, fall into that vertical, get too deep, and hit it. I must say I'm relieved if he has other fences down, because it'd be too heartbreaking if he jumped clear, having got the time penalties for not going through the start.
Exactly, got some jump on him. This was very, very scopy, big, lovely horse to watch.
Tara has won a lot with him, and that's what he was worried about. One of the things he was worried about. They do not like that end down there.
Yeah, Tara seeing that she can't win it from there, so opting
sensibly,
to retire.
Yes. She has another ride. She'll be back with Mr. President. And we go now with Sunny Park Stables El Paso. In the saddle is Nicola Syme Riley. She's won so much with this horse. She's been at the death of many big competition, won South African Outdoor Grand Prix, won World Cups, Derby, she's done it all. El Paso by Consuelo out of a Graveur mare.
We were talking about big match temperament earlier, Rogan, and Nicola's got it all.
By the bushel.
She really, she's got ice in her veins. She really knows how to keep her head and really perform at her best when it counts.
So she's taking her time. I'm just looking at the countdown clock. 22 seconds, and she's through. Ten strides, she goes to number 2. And you'll notice they turn as quickly as they can to get to the next fence to try and mitigate. Now this is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's what I think it is, a 10-stride distance.
That horse is back to up number 4 a little bit, and didn't quite reach the back rail there. Having to work hard, Nicola, through that treble.
He can be and look a little stodgy, this horse, at times. Sometimes he's really on. She's very experienced, very cool. The Sunera vertical is something else, that wall. Wow.
Do you see, Rogan, it's not actually straight, it's a little bit curved as well.
I've only noticed that you pointed that out. A super jump at the last. 4 penalties, a worthwhile round. So we've had 3 4-penalty rounds. 1 retirement, 1 12 and 1 5. We're looking at now the lovely Kaylee Triggle. She rides Her father, Govert Triggle's horse, it's called Callahose Louisa. This is by Le Premier out of a Glückpilzmare. This is the perfect model of a ladies' show jumper. Light, forward, rideable, adjustable. It's a glorious mare. Kaylee's won a World Cup with this horse, and she's been in all the big classes. A student at Tucky's in Pretoria studying business.
I think she actually moved to Unisa Rogues, but yeah, she works hard studying and then riding as well.
She started at Tucks, didn't she? Yeah.
And then she'd moved to Unisa.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
It's hard doing full-time university and riding. It's often better to go to those other universities, which is a little bit more part-time.
Yep.
It's time-demanding horses. Wow, what a late faller there.
That's the second time number one's fallen. And it rolled towards the direction of approach, which gives you an idea of how lightly she rubbed it. They're on 9, Lawrence. Did you count? I thought 9. I think that's a very telling ride, that. And just a little rub through the treble, so carrying 8. She gets there on 9.
She's electric. Through that double, you can see Kaylee closed her leg and the horse responded.
Very electric mare.
Super to the last there.
Yes, her round got so good. She settled into it. Started not concentrating and so good. 8.
And it was unlucky going out that treble. I think the mare could have cleared it. Number 1 was unlucky.
The distance is snug there. The second part of the treble.
Yeah, it's a little bit tight in there, but all the horses have been jumping it quite well.
This horse came to South Africa from Germany 2 years ago. It was ridden by Hans-Johan Ottens, and Chris has done a remarkable rehab job. He's got the horse confident and going. Chris, based in Limpopo. He was born here in Oudtshoorn, 8 Nages se Wêreld, and wonderful young professional. Married, a baby daughter. His wife also rides at top level. Here he is with Crashman. And it's this horse owned by Conrad Fourie. I hope Conrad and Rene are watching. Big shout out to them. They stayed at home because their favored mare Lasker foaled down a colt by numerology called Nebraska.
Oh, that's clever. I actually watched this horse compete in Germany when I was there.
And nothing if not hairy.
I thought it was a very good horse. I think it even might have jumped the Hamburg Derby, if I'm not mistaken.
I just remember it driving below condition, and I'm in awe of the muscle tone and shine they've got. The horse is looking so well and looking looser and more relaxed, softer. Very impressive job that Chris has done. Wow, way to go. Clear so far. Clear. Yeah. Now the horse is hanging away to the left there a little bit.
Cross cantering.
Yes. Let's hold thumbs for a clear round. This is good.
Whoa. Oh,
Oh,
brilliant.
wow. Wowee. The man is on form. He will be over the moon with that. Fantastic riding. Time penalty. 1 time penalty preventing him going clear. But it'll moving out the qualifier, and he will be over the moon with that. That horse sponsored by the BB Motor Group in Polokwane. Now we're with Anthony Kay. He was in the East Cape Limpopo team yesterday, quite on form, let it be said, and here he is with his big Grand Prix horse, Assegai Sherman. This is by the imported Hanoverian stallion Supreme out of a Wunderbar mare, bred at the Assegai stud just outside of Grahamstown. Kerry and Neil Curry, they must be very proud of this. Anthony, a top horse dealer based in Port Elizabeth. Straight, they fall in and have that down. So carrying 4.
And you know, there's also a lovely relationship down at the stables. He's always there, tending to it, giving it attention, which is lovely to see. I think Martingale's broken.
Yeah, I was just going to say, his Martingale looks broken. Hopefully not too serious. He has the horse going in a Pelham. It's obviously fairly strong. He keeps the horse with Dominic Alexander in Johannesburg. Goes there for training.
Not being hindered by his Martingale. A lovely round to finish. Yes. Almost ate my words.
4 penalties. I'm not sure about time. 8. So 8 penalties in total. Now, here's a horse that's exciting to watch. This Biogen's Greta G. Shayton Hendricks in the saddle. The horse owned by Shonay Gertsch. And this is a Graf top out of a Silvio mare. It is spectacular. The Silvio gives it its blood, and the Graf top, the color, size, style, substance. Shane done a wonderful job with this horse. This horse is sensitive and a delicate horse.
Full of blood, but a big extravagant jump.
Very big. And would you think this is Shayton's first ride in the South African Championships? Not. He might have
he had that
yes,
that big chestnut a while ago. I'm not too sure if it is South African Championship there, but he's full of experience of Shayton. He would know exactly where he's at round here.
Almost everybody doing 10 strides, 1 to 2. I guess this horse covers ground. Very nicely ridden. Rub that, Lawrence. That. He's a tall man and very slim. Got her as a junior horse in the UK. No. And Buckton did everything, and he nearly gave up riding as a result of her, and then built a partnership, and the rest has been very good, successful history.
I think he calls her his wonderful.
He's not wrong. So there's that snug distance in the treble, exacting a price. And as early as the halfway mark, we can say that the faults have been fairly spread out, Lawrence.
Yes, the back of the treble causing a bit of problems. Number 5, as you put it, is a bit of a bogey maybe, but there's been fences everywhere.
Yes. Now let's see what she did time-wise. I don't foresee time penalties.
5, one time for Rogan.
Wow. So time is really an issue. Now we go to competitor number 13. The horse is back on track, Clooney 3. The rider's Rainer Korber, and he rides for Linda Ellerin. And this horse is by Callisto out of a Kai mare. There's something of a story about this horse. He won a World Cup earlier this year in Johannesburg, and then was on a hack and spun into a fence and completely severed his near fore extensor tendon. If you look carefully, you can see a slight scar at the top of the foreleg. When we got to the horse, the tendon was sticking out through the skin like an electric pipe. I thought the horse was a write-off, and with some very careful looking after by Professor Roy Gottschalk and lots of TLC, he's come right. This is his first big outing since the injury, so we're not expecting a lot. We're thrilled that he's qualified this well.
You're involved in the training of this horse, am I right, Rogan?
Yes. Comes from Hilmar Meyer from his stables, but the horse was actually bred in Eastern Europe. "14 seconds left. 12, 11, and he's through the start. He's okay.
I remember one World Cup where Rayner actually did take his time going through the start in Chongweni.
Got a time penalty. Imagine the pain of that.
I can imagine.
It's too deep.
Lent on that a bit. It is a hard fence to jump on the corner. Horse needs to be very good with its right shoulder.
It worried Rainer when he walked the track, and horse I think needed a little more setup for straight than that. See how easy he gets down that 4-stride distance. He has unlimited stride, this horse. The horses lose rhythm in that corner to that double of verticals. He just did. And 4 penalties. Wow. And that was the vertical that worried him, that ride to number 5. Was he inside the time?
He was.
So 4. This is amazing. Little Master Triggle, he's not so little anymore, but he's 18. He is 18 already. Sorry, I keep on telling everybody he's 17.
No, he's 18. I believe it was his birthday, maybe last month, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So he got a car and everything.
We won't unpack the everything. So, this horse is called Callahow's Fiona. Callahow's Fiona is by For Pleasure out of a Carthago mare, and really typical. The For Pleasure is often chestnut, and you see the high front, and they can jump with a clumsy front technique, a hanging front leg, but they're brilliant nonetheless. The horse has a tricky mouth, you can see by the nath bit or nylon mouthpiece, and then some sort of gag action.
That is absolutely amazing breeding on paper, isn't it, Rogan?
It is wonderful breeding. They worked.
Oh.
Wow. Number one has fallen. That's at least the third time.
Watched his big sister go. She also had number one.
And then in supporting the front, it's easy to make a mistake behind. This vertical here is another danger for him. Yes. So the horse is not thinking about looking at the fence. They're hanging away from the outside of the arena.
Super through there.
Yes. It'll be very interesting to see how many of the horses come back for the second round. And not, she was running a bit. He didn't get a distance. He didn't get organized for that. If I have to say, they haven't looked comfortable, and he signifies his retirement. They may have well not had an ideal warm-up. The riders know their horses.
It's amazing that the 3 members of the Triggle family were jumping in this class. It's quite extraordinary.
Yes, it is special.
Must we have something good for breakfast in that family.
Equistro van der Mispelade NPS. In the saddle, Barry Taylor. This horse owned by Nariska Prinsloo. She sent the horse to Barry to ride, and he's struck up a rather good relationship with the horse. Barry can ride anything.
It's quite interesting.
Small, big, hot, cold, slow, fast. He rides them all.
He shared a video of this horse as a young horse on his Facebook page. It's quite interesting to see the difference between how it was and how it is, and it finds similarities for when you're shopping for a horse of your own, to see what changes in a horse, what good points the horse had. And it's always good.
How interesting. I hadn't seen that, yeah. Barry grew up in Kimberley, basically.
Barry choosing to have a very short martingale on this horse.
And watch the horse carefully. It twists its jaw, pulls against the contact. It's got quite a lot of engine. So there's that number 5 vertical falling again. And Barry nursing the horse through the treble. We're certainly missing Barry's wife, Lorette. She's normally at all these shows, but she's a little short of horsepower at the moment. That's the first time the wall goes. It felt like he touched it almost with his foot. I'm not sure. Laid near 4 on it. But he's on 8 penalties, so little out of the hunt now. Okay, and 12 penalties. It looked like he knew that was going to happen. He braced his body, but no distance, not the ideal distance there. Number 16 to go is Data Sciences, Hammer van het Bevreidhof. This is owned and by Slade Equestrian, ridden from the beginning by Jonathan Clark. This arrived as a 4-year-old from Belgium, a beautiful 4-year-old. He was a steel grey then. He's gone much whiter, as they do. And he is a Cordento action breaker. He's highly in demand as a breeding stallion to breed sport horses. And he probably gets 30 coverings a year. Of course, everything's done by artificial insemination. So the horses go to the breeding station, semen gets tapped, and the mares get inseminated. He's a very fertile stallion, so all the inseminations take. And really, Lawrence, I would say this is the perfect show jumper. He's the perfect size. He's nice looking. He's rideable. He's willing. Such a fan of Hummer.
Yes, he throws a lovely shape in the air. And we actually bought semen of his on an auction the other day, which we're excited to use for. We haven't decided which mare, but we're excited to see what happens with that.
I think you made a good call. So here he goes. Watch his face. He pricks his ears.
He's careful like a cat at all the jumps. He really watches them and gets in the air.
He sort of combines being electric with being cool. He's switched on but never silly. Beautiful ride there.
Very tight to that.
3, 4, 5, 6. And you see how Jonathan softens the rein on takeoff. The horse uses its neck.
Give the horse length before it takes off.
And curls round that big vertical. That's where you see the horse's quality and class. He doesn't ride the horse in the martingale. I thought there was a technical reason for it, but he is worried that the horse's front technique is so good that it could put its foot in the martingale and fall. Can cause falls.
Oh.
Wow, there's an unlucky moment. Gee. It'd be wonderful if we could see that in a replay, what exactly happened, whether he fell in a little. So the television camera is going to show us what happened there at number 7. You can see the arena party is going to put it up. The bell won't ring until it's up. And with a bit of luck, we can review that ride. That was puzzling. You could jump that number 100 times and not hit it down. And we're very disappointed with that. Cleared it. Good round. Good ride there. She's aware of time, but I would imagine, Lawrence, she looks like she could be on the edge time-wise.
Yeah, it's a probably a bit difficult, this horse, to ride, as he is very. He looks strong. Tarek does a good job on him. But he looks strong, and it's a big jumping horse.
Yes. Came from Brett Latimer, and tell Brett would have imported him.
From Ireland, I believe.
And there goes a rail. He's started to run away a bit. She manages him. Takes her body back, clears, touches it, but clears it.
And good for time, Rogues. We were worried about that, but just the 4.
4 penalties. Is that just 4? Just the 4 penalties. So, at this stage, we have only the 1 time penalty round presented by Crashman and Chris van der Merwe. Conrad,
and
I hope
Greta,
you're,
Greta with 1 time penalty.
I hope you're watching. I hope you're excited. Greta G's the other one with 1 time penalty. So those 2 will go to the top of the leaderboard for the second round. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's the reigning champion, the defending champion, the Derby winner from this year. Can she deliver that elusive and magical clear round? We're in the business end of the qualifying orders now. These are the top qualified horses.
Those who my money's on Rogan, I would really back Kelly to win this any day.
Hero van Bien is by Cicero, out of a mare by Feo. Kelly O'Connor brought it back with her from Belgium when she returned with a group of horses, and this was a wild young horse. She has done all the work.
So I have lessons with Dominic Alexander, and Kelly is often in the lessons with us, and she manages this mare really well before, I'm just a bit close there, but she manages this mare really well with the preparation for the shows. There's always a big plan to get her to a show, and she always normally goes out and really performs, but just a little bit unlucky there, getting a bit close to that upright.
That is a very technical ride, that bending ride into the corner, back to tall vertical. It's a tough ride. If there's a bogey on the track, I would say that is it.
Whoa. It's getting a bit away from Kelly, I think. That's what it looks like.
And now she'll be into time penalties. She's not hurrying to get back there. I think she's going to go jump number 1 and come out. This mare has won a lot for her. She won't be too heartsore. She'll be disappointed, but I hope not too heartsore. So retirement.
I was expected, don't trust me. To give you a tip that in the future, that's for sure. That's a pity.
Hold thumbs for Chris in a clear. He's been round once with a time penalty. That's what to do. 9 strides, 1 to 2. Move
Get
away
the
from
time out
time
the way.
penalties. Yeah.
Chris is so experienced.
He's a small man, Chris. He's as fit as a butcher's dog. Not an ounce of fat on him. Father of a bouncing baby girl of nearly 1 year old. Classy mare, this, isn't she?
Oh, she's a very much a sporty mare, isn't she? Very
Yes.
modern.
Beautiful distance, but little off and spooky. Well, it's extraordinary. This course has produced surprises. I think it's very clever course design.
It is not big enough to scare any horse.
No, nobody's crashed, but clears very
Wow.
tough.
She jumped that big.
She took it very seriously, didn't she? He was on a big stride to that. That's what the time pressure creates, that the riders try and come forward to everything and then lose a little control. That was expensive because that'll be 4 penalties plus time. Now 8 penalties
Never
plus
coming
time.
down before.
Wow. Okay.
It's a
Not their
pity.
day. Good effort. What's the score? What? Okay. We'll come back to you with that score. 12 penalties. 4 for the stop, 4 for the pole, and 4 for time. That was expensive. 12 penalties. Now we have Volca. Volca 334. And if you wonder what the number's about, it means they've used the name 334 times in Germany. We're not accusing them of being over-imaginative, are we?
They're very creative there with their names, that for sure.
Volker 334.
On that topic, there was a horse in Germany. I don't know where it was sold to, but they were sick of having numbers after the horse's name, so they called the horse "Call Me Number One," and that's how that stallion got its name.
Rather nice. Clear of the first two fences. This horse is by Quinar out of an Accord mare. Govett had a very good Accord, a little Accord mare called Adele a while back, with which he won and won and won. Govett is linked to the Callagher stud, and he's a student of pedigree. He had some training with Chark Nagel, really enjoyed it. And working hard, but through the treble he goes.
This horse is careful like a cat. She doesn't want to breathe on a fence.
And she's a beautiful type. She's a little mare. She'd stand 16-1, maybe 16-2, but she's all heart and fight. Are we going to see our first clear? He should be in the time. He's focused.
Come on, Govett, bring her home.
6, 7 there, and now this one.
Whoa, whoa, give her space.
Oh, too big at that. She was so enthusiastic. What a ride, what a round. So 4 penalties. There'll be no time penalties there. Thank you. Well, there's a saying in the riding world, Lawrence, old horses win classes. And this is one of the older horses now. I guess he's in his mid-teens. He's by Optimum Thunder Wellington. He's out of a Carrick mare. He's won the Derby. He's won World Cups. She's at the top of her game at the moment. She's in the top couple of South African riders. And she's concerned about something. She's communicating to the judge's box. I think she wants something raked. But my money says she can get round inside the time. She can clear number 5. This could well be our first clear round. I know we keep hoping. But it's the business end of the competition.
Highest qualifiers.
Last 4 horses, or last 5. When you looked at that grey vertical, did you think that was such a challenge?
I did, especially since they open up at the wall. They open up at the oxer after the wall.
Yes.
Tight turn, jump the double carefully, open up again to the triple bar.
Yeah, and then gallop down to
demanding.
the exit. Yeah.
It's demanding.
Yes.
Pity Anna hitting number 1.
Good luck.
It's hard that, often the number 1 they say is a bit of nerves, not really anything to do with the riders and horses' ability. It's just unlucky to hit number 1.
If there's a time lapse between your last jump and number 1, and there was, she commented on the going, and sometimes their concentration just goes off the boil.
Close there and opting to pull out.
She's going to retire.
Yeah.
She's not happy with him. That's
He's a very sensitive horse. He can often get flustered in a warm-up. I trained with Anna, and he often gets flustered in a warm-up. I don't know if that happened, but he's a little bit in a sweat. Maybe he didn't have the greatest warm-up. And Anna's all the experience in the world to know exactly when he's on form and when he just needs to call it a day.
He's older now. He must have a bit of wear and tear. She's not happy. And as she jumped in the treble, she knew that things were not great. Wow, sorry. I would venture to say that horse would not have been a success would have been a success with very, very few other riders. Her tact and sympathy and patience are what have exploited that horse's ability. So, the big occasion, getting to even Clyde Z. Clyde Z's won everything with husband Sean Neal. Now we see wife Catherine Neal. She's the 3rd highest qualifier. Clyde Z. The Z stands for Zangezeide, which is a massive Belgian breeding operation. It's its own stud book. This horse is a Carthago Jeu de Pomme. We've seen horses out of Carthago mares. We haven't seen a direct Carthago yet in this competition. This is the first direct Carthago. And Carthago, one of the biggest names of all time in show jumping, and a Holsteiner stallion. Why called Holsteiner? Because Germany is divided into provinces. Each province has its own breeding union or breed society, and Holsteiner is in that north east corner of Germany, below Denmark, and the Holsteiner is a smaller stud book. Holsteiners are expensive. They're known for their really good canter and their high jumping index. Here we go. Ten strides.
Clydesy takes his job very, very seriously, doesn't he?
As does Catherine. She took a gap from riding while she had a son and a daughter, and they're getting mobile and organized now, so she has time to ride again, and Sean very kindly gave her this opportunity to ride his wonderful campaigner and friend. She looked around. She lost her track temporarily.
Good stride.
Marvelous.
I would love to see a camera on Sean.
Well, you can hear him barking at her. It's not the baboons, it's Sean.
Went a bit wide there, might be concerned for time.
No, she went inside to 7. She's going to have no time issues, I hope. Come on, Catherine. Come on, Catherine.
Bring it home. Now steady him up.
Stood off.
Steady him up. Steady him up.
And
Steady
she
him
lies
up.
against him.
Yes!
Wow. Wow. All clear. Time penalties? No time penalties.
time.
The first clear round of the afternoon from Clyde Z. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful performance. Shayton Hendricks applauding, and you see the grooms there. Just some incredible horsemen amongst the crowd there. Because she did. And he makes ground. Wow, she was inside the time. We've just been informed by 3 seconds. But she did do the inside turn to number 7. I don't think by choice, I think by accident, but it certainly worked for her. Outstanding. So now we go to Catherine's brother-in-law, Gareth Neal. Gareth on Dartoli, number 23. This is a Van Gogh. It's out of a mare by Kigali, owned by Delmont Mining and Civils. It's relatively new at the higher end of the sport. And interestingly, Lawrence, this horse used to jump incredibly to one side.
Yes, I was about to say that. It used to, I don't know if it was left or right, but just as it took off, it used to shuffle left or shuffle right. Gareth did a super job, and like I often looked at it and said, how does he do it?
They did some gynecological examinations, and they've made the mare comfortable, and she jumps straight.
That's amazing.
It's interesting. So it would have been a hormonal issue. Gareth's cantering along. He goes outside of the last fence to number 7, but he's a quick rider. Gareth keeps incredibly fit. He does adventure racing. I think that's what it's called when you run and jump through puddles and crawl around, and I don't know what.
Warrior racing.
Oh, it's warrior racing. Mud wrestling.
Mud wrestling, yeah.
Big
whoa,
there.
Whoa.
He could be in trouble.
No, that's good.
And he's good. So keeping it in the family, the second clear round of the afternoon from another Neil. This time brother-in-law Gareth. Absolutely super performance. Wow. And last to go, top qualifier, in this first round, Nicola Riley. She brings in number 24, Fulvik Connoisseur. This horse bred in Namibia. It's by Consuelo. It's out of a Seducer mare. South Africa had the last living son of Nyako in the world, and Seducer goes back to that stallion, Nyako.
And Consuelo Connoisseur sire recently passed away.
Correct.
I was hearing.
But I think lots of semen has been banked, so he'll be available for hopefully a long time to come. This horse is a stallion. He's very well behaved. You'd never notice. Slightly younger, I think, than El Paso. She rides him in a Nath slide gag, so the action goes up into the corners of the horse's lips, puts a little bit of pole pressure. Again, it displaces pressure. Wow, she's ridden that well twice.
Nicola must have a lovely system at home, because all the horses, they're older horses now, but they're always fit and ready for the challenge, aren't they?
Correct. And interestingly, she rides them barefoot quite a lot. I'm pretty sure this horse is barefoot now. These new fibre arenas can tolerate barefoot. Wow. And I'm thinking that the last line for her shouldn't be difficult. This could be the third clear.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. That has caused trouble. 4 penalties. So she will go behind the time penalty rounds and behind the clears. And we'll have a running order in the fairly near future. So the retirements don't go, the eliminations don't go. The field now shrinks. Those people with high scores, like 12 and worse, are unlikely to start again. So we're probably going to have a dozen to maybe 15 horses out of the 24 come to the second round. So the arena crew will groom the takeoffs and landings. I see Kevin having a good look at the entry to number 5. It must be of concern to him. So that concludes the first round of the South African Show Jumping Championships 2018. There's another full round. In other words, they jump the full track again, and if there's a quality of faults after the second full round, there will be a timed jump off. At this stage, only 2 clear rounds and 2 horses on 1 time penalty, and those would be your main contenders. We're looking at number 7, Callahow's Louisa. So we're starting with, she starts with 8 penalties from the first round. I would say a relatively uncharacteristic 8 penalties. And she'll be wanting to go clear. The course has been shortened, and that's really a mercy because I think it's a lot of jumping. Ideal that they shorten the track for the second round. The fences would have been raised, and let's watch.
1 to 2 is the same as the first round.
She returns 10 strides again.
Round to number 3 again, which is doesn't look like it's gone up.
Everything looking relaxed and attractive. They've left out that vertical at the end of the arena that did a fair amount of damage.
And a long gallop to a treble.
She touched that, and she touches it again. That's the same fault that she'd had.
It's a long gallop to the treble, and like time for the horse, 1 to get back to you and 1 to get away from you.
Yes.
Bit close there. And pays a price.
And you have to say, watching this, that she's not on her best form.
No, she might not have travelled well, but she looks like she's jumping.
6, 7. And there's that last fence again. So finishes on 16 over the 2 rounds. No time to add, presumably. Ebb and Flow Sherman not coming back. They were on 8 penalties in the first round, and it looks like next in is going to be the horse that drew number 1, or that qualified number 1, Gondo Uber Royale. She had that wonderful 4 penalty round. Lawrence, I believe she touched the last fence.
Yeah, she was
right?
unlucky, pulled the last, I think it was, Rogan. The horse looked very comfortable and like it's been jumping this for years. By Ubergaber.
Yes. Ubergaber was imported by Governor Triggle to South Africa. I campaigned the horse into open classes and then sold it very well to a junior. I wouldn't say he's made an impact on breeding in South Africa. He's had the odd good one. Ten strides, she got a little bit deep, and the horse then goes up and unfolds early.
horse that hasn't really jumped at this height before might find it more tiring than a horse that jumps this every other weekend. Takes more out of them.
Agreed. And you wonder how much nervous and mental energy she had to find to jump that very good 4 penalty round, and then it's not as easy to get back there mentally the second time. So she's on 3 fences down now.
So it's the same track, Rogan, except that bogey number 5.
And it's gone up a little.
And it's gone up, yes.
This is a real interesting indicator. Are the other horses going to do the same and start to find poles in the second round?
Still a well-ridden round.
Thank you.
Just tapping off some here and there.
So Louisa finishes on 16, and this horse over the 2 rounds returns a score of 20. Thank you. Thank you. So standing by now is Liam Stevens, and he's bringing in Wanda. This was number 12 in the first round. They had 5 penalties, 1 down plus a time. So from this end of the second round, these horses are still in the hunt. Liam is something of an artist. He is very smooth, very rhythmical. He has a very delicate feel. His moments that are good in show jumping are very, very good. And there, I think that's what we're going to see, that the horses finding a rail here and there.
A little bit tired, didn't want to push as hard.
Yeah, they've already jumped hard once. Yep.
And forget, it's not just the conversation we're having earlier. It's not just the fences in the arena. It's also the warm-up.
Yes.
Push hard in the warm-up and come in here, not firing on all cylinders maybe in the second round. She still looks ready and fit though. Wow. Give that a bit of air.
Yeah, actually a lovely round, just touching the back of the treble to finish on 9 penalties over the 2 rounds. She goes in such simple tack. Flash noseband and a simple snaffle, a longish running martingale. Very gentle tack. So, Data Sciences Inush RK. Jonathan Clark for Slade Equestrian. The Tinker's Boy Chin Chin. She is so cute. She always has her head up and looking around. And she's the one that didn't want to go down to the wall. Do you remember in the first round, she stiffened her neck, raised her head like she's doing now. She's going, oh my goodness, what is this? It's remarkable. Jonathan arrives with a truck full of horses. He can ride, I don't know, 6 or 8 at a show, and I can't imagine how many jumps he jumps and how many hours he spends in the saddle at a show, but he's got to be fit and he's got to have a lot of focus and stamina.
Yeah, as you say, it's not just physical fitness, it's mental fitness as well. It's draining on your mind to jump
I'm
a
guessing
full course at 150.
he sleeps well at night. She did that through the treble as well. Goes to the left. It's interesting.
John was checking to see if he had one down, but he hasn't.
A clear round in this will move him up the order. Prizes are to 6th.
Spooking at that wall again.
She hasn't enjoyed that wall, but she's been kind and jumped it and cleared it. Amazing. Wonderful. The first clear round in the second round going to Data Science Anush K. So they're on 4 penalties over 2 rounds, and that takes the lead at this stage. Good-looking horse, good-looking girl, Iliano, Zaan Wonderbosman. Carrying just 4 penalties from the first round. Big concentration now. Anybody that goes clear in this round is going to get closer to the shakedown. And touches. Third part of the treble has exacted a price throughout the day. Little rub there. This horse is full of it again.
Very compact horse, like a little spring that explodes over the fences.
By Toulon, fabled stallion. Wow, living dangerously, but finishes with 8 over the 2 rounds. So that's 8 for Iliano.
I think it's 12. 12 over the 2 rounds, right?
12, sorry, which had 2 done, exact. Yeah. So 12 over the 2 rounds. Iliano and Zaan Wonderbosman. So the bell rings now for Nicholas Riley, Sunny Park Stables, El Paso. 4 penalties in the first round. This is a blend of Holstein and Hanover. It's been so successful when it's come together. And you can see by the mark on his face that he took skin off his face traveling down. I don't think he traveled particularly well. Nicholas Riley, and she's on El Paso. When the riders look to the left at number 7, you think they're going to go inside, but all the top riders look at the next fence as quickly as is possible.
Paso still looks full of beans. Ready to rock and roll still.
Yeah, he's an interesting horse. He has a flattish canter, but boy does he get the job done.
Geez, there you go.
There it is. So that levels up with Jonathan.
On 4.
She finishes on 4. Super. Next in is going to be number 13. Back on track, Clooney 3. So back on track, quite an important innovation in the sport. It's therapeutic equipment, boots, blankets, t-shirts, and it's a range that applies to horses, dogs and humans. Rainer Korber, married, father of 2 kids, son and a daughter. His wife is a very competitive show jumper. They have a stables in Beaulieu. Rainer rides horses and trains people full-time, and his wife is involved in business, works for Govert Triggle's company, Rionet. Strides 1 to 2. The time is not looking as hectic as it was in their first round.
No, I think that's because they maybe didn't extend the time, or they maybe didn't shorten the time, and they left out a jump.
Yes. See Rainer moving on and going inside the timing device there.
Making it a bit of a shorter.
And this is a difficulty for him to the treble. This is going to cause trouble. The second, third element. Clears it. The horse has an interesting habit. He empties the right rein. He bends his head to the right and gives the rider a lot of contact on the left hand. Gets too deep there. Rider slow to organize and shorten for this big striding horse. And now another danger. He's got to really get him back. And does.
Oh.
So, finishes on 8 penalties for the 2 rounds.
Now I see that horse jumping back at this level again, Rogan.
Yeah, wonderful. Let's hope he has a good year next year.
I'm sure he will. He looks
Yeah.
fit and ready.
So, next in is going to be, when they're ready, is Hammer. There'll be a small delay while we wait for Hammer. Jonathan hasn't long been out of the arena on Data Sciences Inush RK. The judges will be aware of that. I think there's a rule of a minimum of 5 minutes, but I'm not sure that they'll hold him to the 5 minutes. It would be nice if they didn't. Everybody's respectful of the amount of time it takes to prepare a horse to perform at this level.
It's amazing, Rogan, to see the turnout to watch this event. The VIP is packed, so is the bank, and all the grooms are also below us watching the event. It's nice to see everyone getting involved.
Yeah, I would say the spectators number into the thousands. And hopefully this just picks up and expands. It couldn't be more perfect. It is perfect weather. It really, really beautiful environment. Over the back of the VIP tent you can see the people finishing off their golf games. Another shabby day in Africa, really.
Exactly.
So we're waiting for Jonathan Clark and Hammer van het Bevrijdhof, the horse owned by Data Sciences. It's their flagship horse in the string. He's a breeding stallion and a remarkable competition horse. He had a rail down, so he's on 4 penalties, and Jonathan's already been round here clear in his second round with Inush, so he'd be looking to go clear again. Those riders that go clear will be putting pressure on the last 2 who delivered clears in the first round and will be wanting to leave the fences up. Here he is, the lovely Hammer, Jonathan Clark. He's on 4 penalties in the second round. He's technically in the lead. Little breather while Hammer offloads.
Telling everyone that he's ready to go. He's fresh like lettuce.
Hammer's... Lawrence, you crack the person up. Hammer's groom is Willie, and he's worked with Hammer a long time. He carries with him a dressage whip, and he gives the horse little taps when he handles the horse on the flat. But he really does such a good job of looking after Hammer. Hammer's quite boisterous on the halter.
Yes, he looks like a handful. His stable is typical of a stallion. Higher walls, bar
Yes.
across the front. But when he goes into the ring, you can forgive him for all the sins, can't you?
He's a wonderful attitude. And there you see his technique. It is just marvelous. Good in front, good behind, a great bascule.
Always through his body and rounds over the front rail of the oxes.
And Jonathan personifies cool. Lovely jump. He was really unlucky to have a rail. Can you remember which one he had, Lawrence?
I can't, Rogan. I
Thank
think
you.
it was number 7.
Okay. Yeah, front of number 7, wasn't it?
Yes. I think he'll bring this home. If anyone's going to jump this last upright, it is Hummer.
Perfect.
There you go.
Just perfect. And they'll be wondering why they didn't manage that in the first round. So Jonathan on 4 penalties in 2 rounds. As we go to Mr. President. Also just 4 penalty round. She had such a good round. Fighting round from Tara. So this horse is by Clinton, who's by Kamano, and this neck and head is very typical of the bloodline. You see him invert, take Tara to number 1, but it doesn't cause him to have a rail down. She's deep.
This horse came from Dan Walshan Island,
Okay.
imported by Brett Latimer, and then sold to Tara after that. Well, it wasn't too sure of her distance going into
No.
that.
She had the horse's head to the outside a little. So quick loop back, but that's 4 penalties incurred for that. She'll move into time penalties, and she's still got all these jumps to leave up.
Maybe I'd have ride it a bit stronger, backing off the
Yep.
next time and paid the penalty for that.
An interesting loss of form, loss of concentration.
Riding's all about the rhythm, and something like that often breaks that rhythm.
So Jonathan is currently in the
Okay.
lead, and Tara's decided to come out with those penalties. So she retires. So the leading scores at this stage are Jonathan on his 2 rides, 4 penalties over the 2 rounds.
And Nicholas Sainz also on 4 penalties with El Paso.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
I'd forgotten that. Thank you. So 3. Now these horses came out of quarantine, I would say just over a month ago, and they still had to complete their horse sickness. So this horse would have been out of its horse sickness inoculations not that much longer than 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks. It could be that that counts against them in terms of fitness. Being down here at the coast really works in their favor. The horse's coat is good, it looks well.
Govett Triggle has a lovely string of horses now that he's just imported.
A very strong string. So 2 kids riding at this level. He rides at this level. His partner Ashley is a very competitive rider. They have a baby son together who no doubt will ride.
No, definitely.
Will have to.
I remember when Helmer first sold this horse to Govett. Its name's Volker, which means cloud, I think, in German.
Yes. Where are you going with this, Lawrence?
I thought that was quite interesting, Rogan.
Very good so far.
Super careful. ultra careful.
It is good. 4 fences to go. She is keen, huh?
Govett able to dare her, steered her up here for the last, and she does it.
Oh, well
Brilliant.
done, Govett. So 4 riders on 4 penalties over 2 rounds. Is that right? 4 riders, 4 penalties over 2 rounds. Nicola Sam Riley, who was top qualifier with her 4 penalties, dropped behind the 2 1 penalty rounds and the 2 clear rounds. So she's 5th last to go. It's not a horse that carries his tail, Lawrence. I don't know if that's impacted on you.
Can't say I've noticed it. His tail's set on quite low.
It is.
I think that means that he's quite on his haunches the whole time, on his up on the forehand, already built to take off for a fence.
He's jumped a lot of jumps in his life. He knows exactly what he's doing. Has a much different canter to El Paso. And she's looking to jump a clear in this to keep her in the hunt. Looking good. Super. Oh, easily done. Really nice. Easily done. So, 5 riders on 4 penalties. 5 riders on 4 penalties as we go to the 1 penalty rounds now. First of the 1 penalty rounds is Chris van der Merwe. Where was he? What's his number? 8. He was number 8 in the first round. He returned a 1 penalty round, so he hit nothing. Crashman by Con Sherry. So good, the 9 strides 1 to 2, so smooth. Maximizing the horse's scope and ability. Here's a rubber mouthpiece or nylon mouthpiece in the horse's mouth. One keeps thinking that if you're a horse and they said you can have metal in your mouth or chew on a bit of nylon, I think you know which way we'd tend to be.
Definitely.
And unlucky. Now that's really interesting because that same thing happened earlier. Who jumped into the treble?
Anna.
And
Anna was a bit
jumped
deep.
into the treble and had that sort of ride. So Chris not happy with that, and he retires. So all the 4 penalty rounds stay in the lead with 3 rounds to go. One more 1 penalty round. It's Bargen's Greta G. That will have caught Shaitan by surprise, so he'll be coming down in a second. Barry Taylor in the warm-up ring there has put him through his last few moments. He trains with Barry, and here she comes, Greta G for Bargen and Shawnee Gertsch. So into the arena with 1 time penalty, and if he can leave the fences up, and he can, he puts himself into a very nice position. So we're looking at Shayton Hendricks. He was 10th to go. He was a fairly early qualifier. This daughter of Gruff Top out of a Silvio mare. Classic Hanoverian breeding. Didn't she jump that nicely?
She's beautiful to look at, even. Lovely sparkly brow band as well. I don't think I was chosen by Shayton.
There is something about her.
Oozes
Right.
class.
Very nice. And see him moving her on. I think time is not really an issue for him in this round, but it was in the first round, so he won't be wanting to do that again. Good. 4 fences to clear, and then he moves into the leading spot. And clears the Sabrina Love triple bar. And clears the
There we
last.
go.
And that is a very strong performance. To beat that, Clydesy and Dartoli have to go clear. So is that what's going to happen? If they go clear, then they have a jump off between them. So taking the lead is Shayton, and then the 4 penalty rounds are filling the placings behind that. They'll be joint second, all the 4 penalty rounds over the 2 rounds. Lawrence, your opinion of the test that Kevin set?
I think it's lovely the way he's opened up the horses and closed them up. I think he's asked the right questions and enough questions. I mean, only 2 clear rounds out of 24 starters. That is, shows the technicality of the track. When I walked it, I didn't think it was that testing. Obviously,
Yes.
it's very different to ride than walk, and it's unfortunate that old number 5 caused a few problems. Just a real test of rideability to get the horse's left shoulder up,
Yes.
pull round the jump, which is obviously not there in this round, and that's why we're seeing a few more clears.
So you're watching Clydesy and Catherine Neal clear in the first round. This is the Carthago Jus de Pomme. Couldn't quite make out what bit he's going in. I don't know if you saw it, Lawrence.
Looked like a pelham.
She's a small, slight woman, and he's a bull of a horse. It's fascinating how he's adapted to her. Super. Her husband is standing
Whoa.
just near this commentary point, waving his legs and arms. I think he's not that far away from a heart attack. She's in trouble.
Whoa.
No, she resolves it. 4 jumps left to go, 4 efforts.
He must be really strong to ride.
He's
Looks like he
incredibly
really takes a
strong.
hold, but backs up very well at the same time.
What a nice.
This is looking good. Come
yes.
on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes!
Well, she's done what she had to do. She's jumped a double clear. She's jumped a double clear.
That was fantastic, wasn't it, Rogan? The
Her
horse.
brother-in-law Gareth, standing at the in gate, will have watched all of that. He knows to take her to a jump off, he has to go there. So Shayton moves into second spot, and the 4 Falters now lying in third. They move down, and the only person that can push them further down is this man, Gareth Neal, on his Van Gogh, number 23, Dartoli.
Exciting if it goes to a jump off, Rogan. I mean, these are 2 super horses.
Well, I think Kevin has pitched it perfectly. So we're watching Gareth Neal. This is number 23. He's the brother-in-law of the lady who has jumped the first double clear in the South African Championships 2018 here at Sunera. Well, this is a test of big match temperament. He's got to hold it together. He has to concentrate as hard as he ever had. He has won the South African Championships previously.
I can imagine Catherine sweating like a gypsy with a mortgage now.
Glad you kept that tactful. He's cantering on. We'll try and keep an eye on the time. This horse jumping very well. One can hear Barry Taylor, his coach, shouting on the outside of the arena to turn. Worried about time. Touches that. He looks okay, he looks okay.
Oh!
And he touches it. So we have a South African champion, and it is Catherine Neal. That is remarkable. The only double clear this afternoon. Catherine Neal and Clyde Z take away the South African Championship with their sparkling performance, jumping the only double clear round. And I would say a classic result.
Oh, geez, I would say that, Rogan. It was lovely to watch, lovely show jumping. All the horses look confident and brave and willing to take on the job.
Wow. Absolutely wonderful. Just a wonderful result. So there'll be a little bit of a delay now while the rosettes and winning blankets are put onto the riders and horses. So, crowd giving a second round of applause here. Super views of this spectacular venue. So Catherine dismounted so that they can put the blanket onto the winning horse. I don't know if you can see Tom Makoko there at all. So here's a look at Catherine. That's coming to number 2. From behind like this, you can see what a slight woman she is, and this is a very strong horse. She does a wonderful, wonderful job. She was a top junior, comes from KwaZulu-Natal, rode at a high level and then got married, had children, and she's back again at the top of her game. So nice to see.
Imagine how different it is to her first top horse, Crystallize, who was a light, flighty horse to this big
shot
group.
Of Sean chewing his nails and bouncing up and down as he wills her to go clear. The slow motion really attractive. There's Sean hyperventilating, I think, and not able to control himself. Once again, and wanting to shout instructions. There's nothing he can really do from the outside but just watch and hope.
Yeah, he's busier than a one-on brick
see
there in Baghdad.
he's taking straight. Lawrence, you and your similes. I'm not sure. And you see the leg go. Clears that big vertical. If he's hard to know whether he's praying. And he is all focus. If anybody's willing anything to do anything, it's Sean willing his wife to jump a clear round. The leg goes up. And there he is. Yeah, no. And he can breathe again. He is delighted, as is Catherine. And I don't know if we'll get to see there. Oh, yeah. Standing with Catherine, I hope the camera can pick this up, is Tom Makoko, who really looks after the whole operation. the Niels Delmon operation. Old horses win classes, Lawrence.
Yes, that horse got huge amounts of experience. So just, as you say, old horses win classes. They just
Yes.
have what it takes. They've done it. They've done the mileage. And
Imported from Leuven, I think.
Van der Kraan, I think so. Yes.
Yes, and came in for the Van der Berg family, and then the Niels acquired Clydesy from them.
Oh, really?
Yep.
They have
I would
strong
stand to be
string of
corrected, but I
horses.
have a feeling that is the horse's history. And
Had good results for Sean as well, and then due to his
Outstanding results.
back issues, I think he had to
correct.
give the rider over to Catherine.
Sean's now on a rigorous exercise program, and it says that his back pain has all but gone away, and he's very keen to avoid surgery, as you can imagine. So the camera's on Catherine. Hope Catherine's mother at home in KwaZulu-Natal had a chance to watch this. She'll see it on replays at some stage. So the jumps being taken out of the arena in preparation of the presentation of this 2018 South African Adult Show Jumping Championship. The three big classes to win, of course, the Any World Cup and the World Cup Series, the South African Outdoor Grand Prix, the Derby, this is now more looking like 4, and the South African Championships.
And then President Cup would also be up there.
Yes. But this is really one for the history books and one for the record books. So a chance to look at some of the highlights of these 2 rounds of show jumping. And of course, heading the parade is the champion for the next year, Catherine Neal and Clyde Z, owned by Delmon Mining and Civils. Wonderful aspect of this sport is that the names at the top change continuously. Some come back, but superb to see Catherine win. This is the biggest title and biggest event she's ever won. Our judges for the event, accompanied by Giovanni Augusta, host here at Sunera. And Giovanni was looking so excited about all of this. I think he'll sleep for a week when the show's over, because he hasn't sat still for a moment. He's rushed all over the place, checking things, helping things, fixing things. Sharon Trube, the course designer, all the dignitaries presenting the prizes. And there, Catherine with her little son, Oliver. Oliver in Tom's arms. Very much part of all of this. It's a real family affair. It's rather nice. And the judges and Giovanni going to present the second prize to a fantastic result for Shayton Hendricks.
Sure, Greta hasn't done many 150 classes, or if she has, it's only been this year.
It's in fact Gareth Neal in now getting presented for Dartoli. He touched the last rail. He'll ride that in his mind over and over and over, won't he?
Exactly, yeah. Ride it differently every time.
And then all the joint thirds. Di Baxter in the white jacket, senior judge. She judged it, was a steward at Tryon at the recent World Equestrian Games. Real compliment to her. And now the podium and presentation. SA show jumping medals and ribbons. The two numerically strong sports in this country are show jumping and endurance riding. And you're seeing South African show jumping in its most favorable light in these ideal circumstances. Really good competition. Facilities, course design, everything coming together to make just a perfect afternoon of sport and entertainment. The medallion and sash. And then that old trophy, which I think is made of silver and worth an enormous amount of money. That could be called the Smith Hillcoat Perpetual Challenge Trophy. My memory serves me correctly. And it would be 40 or 50 years old and made of sterling silver. And a very important part of the team that put this all together. Stewards, judges, Giovanni Augusta. And never to forget our headline sponsors here, Seif Properties. Can't think of anything more aspirational than acquiring property in Plettenberg Bay, Lawrence.
Exactly, it's lovely views and lovely way of life here as well. I spent many a holiday here in the sun, that's for sure.
You're a fortunate man. Mike Creef in his Pro-Tier jacket there doing the honours. Mike, who's been a racing steward and now officiates at so many big equestrian events everywhere where there's a South African. Catherine Neal, Clyde Z, the horse owned by Delmont Mining and Civils, and the riders leave the podium and they go to mount up. Catherine Neal, Gareth Neal and Shayton Hendricks. Govett now being presented with the Victodorum.
It must be.
Yeah. Govett receiving a presentation for his success in these classes over the show and his consistency. He's there on C Ultra, but he presumably won that with Volca. And there we have it, the victory lap from Catherine Neal and her wonderful gelding Clyde Z. She will be over the moon if she doesn't knock anyone over. A phenomenal performance. The only double clear of the afternoon. Shayton Hendricks with his time fault and then clear. Gareth Neal, Dottoli, Nicholas Syme Riley and Govett Triggle, C Ultra. She won't be delighted, she will be ecstatic. And Tom Makoko telling her to go again. He's savouring the moment. No matter how much you win, these moments never come round quite often enough. So we have a new champion. And that concludes this afternoon's sport and entertainment, and it could not have been better. In perfect circumstances, perfect environment, perfect facilities, and a just classical outcome. The only double clear takes away the win in the South African Show Jumping Championships. You will never forget this afternoon. Catherine Neal.